I'd like to call to order tonight's meeting of the Hammond Capital Improvement Board for February 5th, 2024. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Join me to call the roll, please.
Emerson.
Here. Chris, sorry.
Moore.
Here.
Muta. Here. Prieto.
Here.
Rakos.
Here.
Salinas.
Here.
Button.
Here. Let the record reflect everyone is present in chambers. And I forgot last time to welcome our new council members to the board. I'm glad to have you with us. Board, you should have seen in your packet a copy of the past meeting minutes. The chair would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Moore, seconded by Commissioner Prieto for the meeting minutes for January 17th, 2024. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Muta.
Yes.
Prieto.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7 aye and no dissent. Next item is a report on the work study session. Immediately prior to this meeting at 4:15, we met to discuss items on the agenda, and Commissioner Moore did provide us with some general guidance on how to interpret future funding allocation reports that is prepared by the controller. That form was fictitious, but we just wanted to get a feel for what to expect. Any other discussion on the work study session? Hearing none, item 6 is a report on funding. Commissioner Moore?
Mr. President, I have no formal report on funding at this time.
Thank you very much. Item number 7 is matters from mayor, council, and other departments. Anyone wishing to address the board from those entities? Seeing none. Item 8 is old business. Any old business? Hearing none. Item 9 is new business. Item 9A is a funding allocation. Initial site characterization, 4703 Hammond, Chicago Street, Phase 2, Enviroforensics in the amount of $22,366. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Muta and properly seconded by Councilman Salinas for the funding allocation so presented. Is there any discussion? This is to close a former underground storage tank site on property that the city had acquired through our Chicago Street project in order to improve and widen that street. So this is the cost to hire the consultant to actually close the underground storage tank file that's open with NDOT, which required a site assessment and a significant amount of paperwork to complete. All of this was done through the Hammond Environmental Department. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Muta.
Yes.
Prieto.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Salinas.
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7 aye, no dissent. Next item is 9B, the funding allocation 2023-2 CCMG Summer Street and 169th Street construction with Reith Riley in the amount of $1,587,365.40. Is there a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Councilman Rakos. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, I believe that was Councilman Emerson.
Me.
Thank you.
Maybe.
I think you both called it at the
Maybe
same
we call- maybe
time.
it's in that.
Is there any discussion? The city was awarded $1 million of State of Indiana Department of Transportation funds through their Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. The city had identified 2 streets for which needed resurfacing urgently. One is Summer Street between Indianapolis Boulevard and 165th. The other is 169th Street between Southeastern and Northcott. This is the full amount of the construction cost, for which we will split equally with the Indiana Department of Transportation. This project is set to go to construction this spring. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes.
just wondering how
Commissioner Prieto.
long that might take for either one. Are they going to be both done at the same time?
We do not have, since we don't have a contract with the contractor yet, we don't have firm timeline for these projects. My expectation is that they will not both be occurring at the same time.
All right.
Right? It is possible that they could mill, grind off the surface of each street first and then come back and do the resurfacing, but generally they will mill and overlay consistently and then move to the next site.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muda,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7 in favor and no dissent. Next item on the agenda is item 9C, funding allocation for Hammond North Approach at Sibley with Reith Riley Construction Company in the amount of $442,146. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes, make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Muta. Is there any discussion? During the planning of the downtown Hammond master plan, it was found that certain motorists may not wish to travel through Holman Avenue in the downtown corridor because we're narrowing the streets. Excuse me. And so the opportunity here is to move traffic, those traffic or motorists that need to move quickly will do so by a southbound new right turn lane at Sibley to go westbound on the primary truck route through up to downtown. That will also encourage any motorists that want to travel around downtown without having to pass down Holman Avenue between Sibley and Douglas to take an alternate route if they're in a hurry. This project came in, was bid by the Board of Public Works and Safety, and the project came in at the amount stated. Is there any other discussion? Any other?
I'm assuming
Councilman Emerson.
they go down to state line and then turn left?
Well, Sibley is a truck route into Illinois, right?
Okay.
Normally, they wouldn't go down state line. The truck, the
So they stay
designated,
on Sibley?
they would just stay on Sibley westbound, right? There is the odd occasion where a truck will turn primarily right at state line and go to the auto salvage yard or that part of the town, but for the most part, it goes westbound on Sibley. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muda,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7-I, no dissent. Next item on the agenda is 9D, a funding allocation for Oman Avenue Phase 1, change order number 16 with Reith Riley Construction Company in the amount of $23,337.77. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Emerson. For the subject project, is there any discussion? Change order number 16 is related to the vaulted basements that we found along the east side of Holman Avenue at Sibley at the old Basic Office Supply Company and the old Straube building that encroached within the right-of-way. The contractor gave us a price to do the work. During the course of that work, there was a significant amount of additional concrete that was not anticipated, along with some steel plating that was poured into the concrete that required removal, and that's the cost of that additional work. This had been reviewed by our consulting engineer who had prepared the change order, and it is their recommendation, as it is the engineering department, to fund this change order. And is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muda,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7-I and no dissent. Next item on the agenda is item 9E, a funding allocation for the Little Calumet River Pedestrian Bridge supplemental construction engineering with beam longest and Neff in the amount of $20,500. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion?
Second.
Okay, I got Commissioner Prieto as a motion, passing a motion, and Commissioner Moore as a second. Is there any discussion? This project was essentially complete and open to the public's use in June. The project has not officially been completed. This allows for an additional 3 weeks of construction supervision or observation, which is really spread out over the time in order to finish lingering aspects, which really includes a lighting controller to run the floodlights and bar lights that are on the bridge, on both sides of the bridge for illumination, and for some decorative banners that haven't yet been completed, and to do a punch list and close out of the project. So this work is for the consultant to help us manage the project. The engineering department feels that the fee is reasonable, given the amount of time that is required to do the work. It's very reasonable. And is there any other discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Emerson?
There are a few banners up.
Yes, sir.
Right now, not many.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they're going to complete that. And
Those banners were not made correctly and will be removed. And when they started placing the banners, and we noticed right away that they weren't correct, and so we stopped them from proceeding. They're making new banners. The old banners will be removed and the new banners will be placed.
okay.
Part of it was the way the color scheme wasn't right based upon what the drawings they provided to us that we approved, that they weren't printed like that. And the back side of the banner should have been all one color, and they had folded over the colored part of the banner onto the back side. And so we didn't want color on the back, on the pedestrian side.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muda,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7 in favor and no dissent. Next item on the agenda is item 9F. That is a funding allocation for state line road closures. Change order number 2 with Reith Riley Construction Company in the amount of $57,815. And the chair would entertain a motion to approve this funding allocation subject to the mayor's approval. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Rakos, and seconded by Commissioner Muta. Is there any discussion? After the project was essentially completed, a motorist was found driving through the landscaping. So we decided it would be best to install guardrail primarily on the State Line Avenue side of the decorative landscaping. So at Cleveland, Wildwood, and Detroit, there'd be a guardrail placed to prevent cars from driving through the landscaping, accessing the roads that are now closed. On Kenwood, it will be on the residential side because the Kenwood blockage is not right at State Line Avenue. And so this is the cost to install that guardrail and the end attenuators that keep motorists from being severely injured. If they hit the end of the guardrail, it sort of attenuates the energy. And that's the price, $57,815. Is there any other discussion?
So the greenery's still going to be there?
Greenery will be there,
But with
and
the
for the most
guardrail-
part, the guardrail will be on the west side of the greenery, which may not be that obvious to a motorist who is in the subdivision who attempts to leave the subdivision and will hit the back side of the guardrail, but we didn't want that guardrail on the residential side, better on the road side. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muda,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries 7-I and no dissent. I do have one additional new business item for your consideration. This was sort of a late add. It is a funding allocation for the 2024 sidewalk program, and Engineering Department is requesting that we set aside $450,000 for the 2024 sidewalk program to be spread out between the council districts. This is a slight increase from last year's sidewalk program, which was about $300,000. So the chair would entertain a motion to set aside funding in the amount of $450,000 for the citywide sidewalk program. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas. Is there a
Second.
second? Seconded by Commissioner Prieto. Would you be kind to amend your motion, making this subject to the mayor's approval?
Yes, make a motion that we amend it, subject to the mayor's approval.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas. Do you accept that as a second, Commissioner Prieto?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded for the sidewalk program funding. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Commissioner Moore.
are the district council people approached for additional funding or funding contributions for their district for sidewalks, or do they approach you? How does that work out?
They could come to the engineering department if they wish, or they could certainly come to the capital improvements board if they wish. Most times we'll see a council person coming to us directly and say, I have a problem area, I'd really just like to get it taken care of. I know we're short on money on the sidewalk program. Will you just, can I use district gaming to do that? We're happy to do that. We'll run it through this board. It's pretty straightforward. So yeah, we've done that in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Emerson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muta,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Salinas,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion carries, 7 in favor and no dissent. Is there any other new business? Then that brings us to public expression. No one has signed up. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the board? Anyone online wishing to address the board? Seeing none, our next regularly scheduled meeting for the Capital Improvement Board, I believe, is scheduled for Wednesday, February 21st. At this point in time, I have no further actions, but that obviously could change between now and then. So I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Muda, seconded by Commissioner Moore. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.